Welcome back everybody, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at doing an extrusion with a draft or a taper by using Inventor 2020. As you can see from this drawing, it's quite simple to create. It's nothing more with an H, and we have a couple of fillets on it, but you can see when we look at the two views here, the front view and the right side view, is that we do have this taper or this angle that's going on the side of it. So we're going to take a look and see how we can do this using Inventor. Okay, so opening up Inventor, remember that the first thing we want to do is create a part. Now in the standard template, I have mine set to inches, but I'm just going to use the default, so that will allow me to pick which one I want to use. So I'm going to go up to the icon where it says New, select that, and it should give me a dialog box here. And now you can see that I do have some templates. So by default it's on my English US, but if I expand down I'll get the English and then I'll get the metric. So I'll select metric, and then I want to create a standard millimeter part, and that's going to be this icon here. Remember that we can double click on it, or we can select it once and then hit the create button. Both will do exactly the same thing, so this time I'm going to choose to double click, and then we will wait for Inventor to open up. Okay, so once Inventor has loaded for you, I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch. So I'm just going to select the icon here to start my 2D sketch. Now I'm going to determine which way I want to create this one. And if we go back to the PDF or the drawing of this one, you will see that the top view is kind of going to be what I'm going to use to create this, because it has the most details. So if I create this and I can create this shape and I can extrude straight down, that should give me my whole part in its entirety. So which view that I'm going to select, or plane in this case, is I'm going to select this top plane here, or the XZ plane, because you'll notice that on my view cube, that's the one that's going to give me the top. If you don't know for sure which one you want to do, you can always select the word top on your view cube here, and I'm going to rotate it around, and now I have that plane facing me. So when I select it, it's ready to go. Okay, so one of the things I want to do, I'm just going to start off and I'm going to create this H shape. You can start off by making some of the numbers on it, but on some of these models, you'll see that it's a lot easier just to go ahead and create the shapes and then come back and put the dimensions and things of that nature on it. So I'm going to start with a line, and I'm just going to create an H shape. So I'm going to go just like this, and I'm trying to make sure that I keep all of my lines parallel to each other. So I'm making them horizontal and vertical, and I'm making sure that I'm getting that parallel, or I'm sorry, that perpendicular icon every time I create it. If you want to do another step into this and tie the things together, you can. For example, if I want this top line to stop up there, you can see that that dotted line there that's in line with the other one on the other end, it will stop at that point. Well, that's going to go ahead and put a constraint on it for you. If you want that to happen, you can do that, and in this case, it should happen. So I'll select here, and I'm going to run into another one here where it's going to track off of that bottom line, and it's going to go ahead and keep my line perpendicular. So I'll select here, come down just a little bit, go over to this one. And once again, I'm making sure all these lines are nice and square. If you get any of them out, or any of them that's shaped a different direction, you can always come back and add another constraint on it or things of that nature. Okay. So I have my general H shape here created, and I'm going to definitely mess up on purpose here just so I can show you how to do it or how to fix it. So I'm going to use the equal constraint, and I'm going to set these lines equal, and this one should give me an error since I made sure that I had these two in line with each other. Okay, so I'm still in the equal constraint, and I want this line to be equal to that line. I also want this to be equal to that, and that'll keep these two lines right in the middle. If I do it on this side as well, you're going to see that it should center it on this side. So all of these lines now should be in line with each other, and it's going to make everything go a lot smoother. Now it's ready to go ahead and put my first dimension on, and remember, with your first dimension, it should scale your overall drawing. What I mean by that is once I place this dimension and I type in the number of 100, it's going to zoom up or zoom out just so it can fit all of that and scale everything up accordingly. Next, I'll go ahead and put a dimension on this one, and I'm going to instead of dimensioning this line here, I'm going to dimension between these two lines just because I want to keep that at a certain distance. And that distance is 30. My reasoning behind that is you can see that this dimension, that each one of these little tabs or the distance between this line and this line is 30. If I'd have put that dimension on this line here, which is that imaginary line, when I go ahead and I put this fillet on it, it's going to try to keep that 30 and attach it to this line here. But I want to keep that distance between here and here. Okay, I have my 30 length on this line. I need to put a 70 between the other ones. So let's go back to the dimension between here and here. It's going to be a distance of 70. And I have one more dimension that I'm going to need, which is going to be the distance between here and here. That's 20. Now I'm at the point where I have two more dimensions that I need. And usually that is in reference to the center of my drawing here. So this middle dot here is where it's going to need to be placed at. Let's go ahead and put a dimension from this line to that center. Place that dimension. I'll select my 100 dimension and divide that by 2. And I'll do the same thing over here with my 70 dimension. So I'll put a dimension between this line and here. Once I place that dimension, I'll select the 70 divided by 2. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put the fillets on. So I'm going to go to fillet, type in the radius. Now, one of those things that's kind of hard to do is not to hit the enter after of it, but you can just type in the 20. Go ahead and put your fillet here and here. And this is where one of those mistakes that I told you is going to definitely mess up when I'm doing this. I would have probably put that equal constraint on afterward, but you can see over here when I go to fillet and I put this one on, it does not look exactly the same as the other one. So I'll go ahead and fillet this one as well. Okay, so the way that you're going to fix that is that I'm going to select this line, and now I see this equal constraint. These two lines are equal to each other, remember? So I'm going to select this equal constraint, right click, and then select the word delete. What that's going to allow me to do is now move this line down this direction. And now I can come back and add my equal constraint back to it by selecting this line and then this one. Everything is happy. It's totally fully constrained. And that's what it's telling me at the bottom corner. You can either choose to go to Finish Sketch, or I can right click and choose Finish Sketch. The exact same thing. I'm going to shift this over to an isometric view just by selecting this little lower right corner. And let's go ahead and put this in the right orientation actually. Let's go ahead and move it to the front, and then we'll do an isometric. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is go ahead and extrude this. And so now you're going to see my shape is going to extrude in 3D. The overall height of this is 50. And I want that to be split. And my reasoning behind that is that in the image, the object is split right where that draft meets. So what I'm trying to show is that my overall height here is 50, but right here in the middle, which is located at 25, is going to be where that draft or that taper is going to start on each side. So we can do that here in Inventor in one step if you make sure that you center it right along that center line or that center plane there. Okay, so now that I make sure that I center it by choosing the symmetric option, so that puts that plane right here in the middle that I was showing you. And the next thing I need to do is now define the taper. Underneath the advanced properties is where you're going to be looking at. So if you select advanced properties, now you're going to get a taper. You can see from the drawing that that line says that it's 95 degrees, which means nothing more than a 5-degree taper. So you can see that that taper is now facing to the outward. But if I click on the little switch or the flip icon here, you'll see that it will taper that going to the inside. And I just noticed that I forgot to put the fillets on the inside, so I'll come back and show you how to do that. And it will not affect this part. Go ahead and select OK. And now you can see I have my tapers on, but I want to go back and edit that sketch that I used to create this on the inside. So I'm going to click the plus icon here where it says Extrusion. I'll select where it says Sketch 1, and you can do a double click on this, or you can right click and go to Edit Sketch. Once I go to Edit Sketch, I'll come back to Fillet, change it to 10, and then I'll put the fillets on that are located here on the inside. Once I'm done, I'll go to Finish Sketch, and you can see now that those inside fillets are there. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will come back and show you how to dimension this in a later video. Thank you for watching.